This morning, as we've been talking about, now we get to talk to, and it's been all nice things. Mike Massimino, good morning. Welcome to the show this morning, Mike.
Thanks for having me, Rollin. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. We were talking about flying into space is kind of like a bucket list thing for us here in the studio. However, we at this point realize that ain't ever going to happen. But you've done it twice.
Yeah, I've fortunate enough after many applications to NASA to get selected as an astronaut 20 years ago, and got a chance to fly in space twice, and now had a chance to write about it in my book Spaceman. So,
and that's what Spaceman's all about. Talking about the whole experience of getting into the program, the 20 years of being in, and then also what it's like to be up in space.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the pursuit of a dream and not giving up, a lot of obstacles and disappointments and failures along the way, but sticking with it and getting picked, finally getting selected, and then getting a chance to experience the joy of space flight and being part of the whole NASA team. That's what the book's about.
So, Mike,
how cool it is to fly in space.
Now, that would be very cool. I mean, it just do you regret that at this point? I'm assuming that you don't get a chance to go back up and do it again. It's not like, well, I have nothing to do this week. Let's go to space.
Well, it wasn't when you're an astronaut. It's not, you don't just walk on the spaceship and you got to wait your turn. But the idea that I'm never going to go back doesn't sit well with me. So I pretend like, yes, someday I will.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very grateful for the chance to have gotten to go, and I hope maybe someday I'll have that opportunity again. It's not going to be as a NASA astronaut. That chapter of my life is done. But with all these private companies looking for ways to get people into space, and they're starting to be very successful in the testing of that, and I think they'll be successful in getting people up there relatively soon. I look forward to the opportunity maybe to fly again someday. Much different than than my experience the first couple times, but I want to hold on to that I might get the chance to go again.
Well, let me ask you that. If I was sitting down and interviewing you, Mike, and and I said, okay, I'm looking at your resume. I see that you've gone to space a couple of times. How does that experience put you in a better position for this job as my current astronaut versus somebody else who doesn't have the experience?
Oh, to go on one of the private companies?
Yeah.
I don't think at all. Actually, I'm just hoping. It's another dream. I think that what's going to happen with the privatization of it and the tourism aspect of it, it's going to be paying customers, or hopefully the price will come down over the years, so more and more people can do it. But I think that's what's interesting about this. If you're going to go as a tourist, which as a space traveler, to experience it from a tourism or a hobby sort of aspect, as opposed to a NASA astronaut career, it's going to be a little bit of training and an experience that anyone. Problem is, you got to be able to afford it.
Right.
Will be able to do. It's going to be expensive. For me, what I really wanted in my life is I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted that as a full-time job, and that meant not just flying in space. I mean, I spent only a relatively short part of my time as an astronaut was spent in space. Most of that time you're spending training, working on different projects, working in the control center, coming up with new equipment, helping with that, devising the next spacecraft, helping your friends who are flying in space. I wanted to be part of that team. I wanted to be an astronaut. I didn't want to just go and fly in space for a few hours or one day or whatever it is, or even a week, and come back and that's the end of it. I wanted to live that life, and that's what I wanted. And if people want to do that, that's still going to be an opportunity for people to strive for. But I think it's also going to be just to have that experience. I mean, some people just want that experience for a short time, not a career with it. And I think that's where the doors are going to be opening up soon.
All right. Well, the book is called Spaceman, and I'm sure inside that book you would reveal the answer to this question, and that is, as you recall being up in space the two different times, what's the coolest thing that still tickles your fancy when you think back on those two experiences? What is it that you put your finger on? I mean, was it spacewalk? Was it the liftoff? Was it staring back at Earth? What was it?
Well, it's all of that, and all that is in the book. But if you one thing for me was the spacewalks, and I described that. I described my spacewalks, each one of them, in as much detail, not so much in some of the technical parts of it, but also in the emotions, the feelings of what it's like to be out there, to view our planet, to be in your own little spacesuit, traveling at 17,500 miles an hour and doing this extraordinary thing. as an astronaut, and trying to relay that what that feeling is like is what I write about, and that for me, those memories from the spacewalks are the most lasting, the most compelling ones that I have from my space flight.
All right, so it's in the book. It's called Spaceman. And one last question. I know you've got to go. It's also had some perks of doing all this because you got to be on The Big Bang Theory. What was that like to be on the show?
That was great. You know, I don't know what really was more fun, flying in space for real or flying in space with Howard Wolowitz, character on The Big Bang Theory. You know, Fruit Loops we call them, right? It was just great. It was a great experience on the show, but getting to know those people. I have a group of friends now out at The Big Bang Theory where when I'm out in L.A., I try to go visit the set and say hi. They're just a wonderful group of people, the actors and actresses and the director, the producers, writers are just fantastic. The wardrobe people, everybody there. It's one big family just like we are at NASA, and it's just been so much fun being a part of that family as well.
Right. Well, listen, Mike Massimino, the book is called Spaceman. Thanks for joining us on the program this morning. You got to do one of the coolest things that so many of us envy. Walk in space, be a spaceman. It's all in the book. It's on Amazon and other locations. And thanks for joining us this morning on The Morning Show.
Rollin, thanks for having me, and you have a great day.
You too. Thanks, Mike. Bye-bye.
All right.